Do you ever get mad at your mother? Because you and I are very different.
We are.
you will not say your mom without saying she's an angel as a little epithet in between. You say it all the time.
My mother's my queen, and one day I'll meet my princess. What do you want me? My father, everything he says, he goes, I'm your father, but you love your mother. My mother was texting me the other day because I didn't talk to her for one full day. And I said, Mom, I texted. She goes, but your voice. But I need to hear your voice every day. I just hear my dad in the background, please, for my sake, call your mother. And I love my mother. But my mom doesn't do manipulative stuff like that.
Does she like comes to your improv shows?
No, I'm an embarrassment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we keep it separate. Don't feel bad. It's a great arrangement. She doesn't want to be there. I don't want her there.
She doesn't come to any of the improv shows.
She went once, and she said like this. She goes, everyone really loved you.
Oh, my God.
So why am I going to bring her to that? And you know what? She's right. Everyone did love me.
Sure.
Don't clap for me. The most pitiful thing ever. I'm getting applause for an old improv show that my mom didn't think was funny. Fucking kill me.
Well, that's like, I always say, my mom, she does come to my comedy shows, and at the end of every comedy show, she'll always say, you were the funniest one. And then she'll turn to me and be like, let's go.
My mom also is close. My mom's in Staten Island. I'm in Brooklyn. So my mom, all right, I'll just say it. My mom does my laundry.
Okay, yeah.
Really?
I don't know a lot of queens that do the laundry.
Well, you want to know the real deal? My mom drives to Brooklyn, picks it up, drives home.
No.
And then my father does it.
No!
Yep, single. Wait, first off, I don't have laundry in the building. And secondly, I got in a big scandal with my local laundromat.
What happened with your...
They lost half my clothes. And I said, you lost half my clothes? They said, no, we didn't. I said, what are we going to do about this? They said, I don't know. Stop coming.
Oh, my...
Okay, so you do drop-off laundry.
I do drop-off. I can't fold.
Sure, listen.
Look at these hands.
I remember the first time I started doing drop-off, and I said, we're never going back to this original thing. I will...
You can't.
No.
No.
Did you ever been to New York?
Yeah, I did. In the first couple of years, but then I did drop off, and now I have it in the building. You know.
Can I tell you, one time, this was the last time I did a drop-off laundry. This was before weed was fully legal, I think.
Sure.
So I had a little bag of weed, and I put my clothes in the wash. I forgot to check the pockets, because that's why I need a mom to do my laundry. And so the wash goes, I swear to God, the bag of weed in the locked laundry. It comes out of the bag because of the mass of the bag. Yes. It goes right in the middle of this laundry thing. And like as it's spinning around, it's a bag of weed just right there, facing the street where all the cops are.
Yeah.
And
did you cover it with your hand? Like,
I didn't know what to do. I stood like to the side, like if the cops came, I'd be like, "Who's that laundry over there?" He ran away, and I just had to wait like 38 minutes because you couldn't open it.
It's locked.
It's locked.
It's the rules.
No,
it's locked.
Rules. It's like a plain door. It's closed until it's there. You know.
And I thought that's when I thought like I'd go to jail somehow. That way. Yeah.
Wow. We grew up different, bro. I once swallowed 3 perk 30s because I thought cops were following me.
Well,
and the audience goes, "Oh, he lived a hard life." What'd you say about my mom?
Oh my God.
What the fuck did you say about my mother? Don't make me take my shirt off, okay?
Oh, wow.
First off, you don't
It's a
know anyone's
privilege.
experience as a child, so don't say that, okay?
Sure.
You don't know what people experience.
We'll
I grew
get
up in a
into it.
beautiful home in a horrible place. But yes, I am privileged.
Now, Russell, your mom.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very interesting. Your mom seems very like loving, but doesn't understand your work.
Not at all.
Not at all. Your mom, like, seems to enjoy your work. She goes to the shows.
She comes. Yeah, she goes and she enjoys it and she says nice things.
Well, you're on Broadway.
Yeah, well, I'm a standby on Broadway, so like I had one line when she saw me on Broadway because I was filling in. But like, she didn't see me fill in for Josh Gad.
When she
so.
compliments you, do you feel like she sees you, or do you think she's saying what like she's supposed to say as a nice
more
mother?
the latter, I think.
Yeah.
Because but it's like she's seeing shows, sketch comedy shows in a basement, and how much can a 70-year-old woman appreciate that always? No offense to older people, but like we've been we've been doing it for, and it wasn't always great. There was like some shows where you're there. There's 15 people in your audience.
Sure.
So
my stepdad saw
like
me
now.
early. My stepdad saw me early in stand-up, and it was like a headlining show, and 6 people came.
Oof.
And for some reason, like, I have the worst impulses. I said, he's my stepfather, and so he has kids. I said, I have half-siblings. The problem with half-siblings is, this is on a stage, I said, the problem with half-siblings is fucking them is half as fun. And it's a testament to him that, like, I don't think it even registered. He never brought it up. The only thing he ever said.
You wanted him to bring it up?
For their sake, to be like, what the fuck was that? Was he's like, you're doing Hassan Minaj up there? You making stuff up, or you? I find the New Yorker like he didn't fuck any of his half siblings.
All lies.
No, the only thing he said to me, I had a joke where it started with my sister when she introduced me. She said, "This Gianmarco, he's my half brother," and it goes to the joke, and he said, "Does Katie do that?" And I was like, "You are." I made a joke about fucking Katie. You need to get your priorities in line. Okay, good. So we all have different moms.
Different moms.
No, you're like I am not a real Italian.
Sure.
Do you see me as Italian at all?
Look how you're sitting. You feel.
But really?
See, this is Italian and this is Italian American. Like, if the posture.
I'm even more authentic Italian?
I swear to God.
Really?
Because you are a little feminine, which is Italian.
Thank you for adding the little. I appreciate that.
You talk with your hands and your body, right? I only talk with my hands.
That's a really interesting way of putting it.
Yes, but I love that you talk with your body.
Thank you.
Of course.
But I don't know if it's actually Italian or if it's flamboyant, like, just a little.
You do give off like someone that has done movement classes.
You
know?
Yeah. I certainly have.
Classes more than
Movement
Italian.
1, Movement 2, Movement 3, Advanced Movement.
Of course.
All sorts of movement classes.
Viewpoints. Remember viewpoints?
Viewpoints.
Ooh.
I never went to acting school.
Oh, well.
What is a viewpoint?
Oh.
No.
It's like the most indulgent masturbatory form of acting where it's like instead of even working on a script, you all like move as one.
There's music they put on.
You play with levels. So I'm going to be middle level.
You're supposed. It's like an improv game.
And then you start brushing your teeth, and suddenly everyone's
starts
brushing their
brushing
teeth,
their
and they're
teeth.
brushing each other's teeth, and then they charge you $20,000
Yeah.
a semester.
Wow.
Yeah.
I taught in an acting school.
What do you teach?
Lee Schreiber, maybe?
Lee Strasberg?
Lee Strasberg. I taught him.
I was like,
I love it's like a bootleg version of Lee Strasberg. It's Leroy Stroisberg. What did you teach?
I taught improv, and I taught kids improv there. And it was a lot of like rich kids in the city whose parents were like just dumping them off for a place to do over the summer.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like doing games until one day they all just started chanting pizza. And I still had 20 minutes left of class. And they wouldn't stop until I looked at their like handler and I go, pizza? And then they all left and got pizza. And I had to stay in the room by myself because I was required by them to get paid to stay there.
So it sounds like you had no authority at all over this class at all. I mean, God forbid this. If everyone here started chanting pizza, I'd say, get the fuck out of here. I'm not getting you pizza.
I would go, pizza?
Yeah.
Let them go. Yeah, I was like, and these are children in pajamas.
In pajamas?
Most of them wore pajamas to class and stuff like that.
Are you good with, I feel like you'd be good with kids.
I am. I was good with kids, but they were like that 11 to 13 age. So it was a lot of Cheetos, Doritos, and Hot Cheetos. And they were just like singing about like, they would sing.
Wait, what do you mean? That's all they talked about?
Were eating
they
that,
just
or?
like
They loved Hot Cheetos. They would just say Hot Cheetos, and then they would do the Fortnite dance. and Doritos, Fritos, and Hot Cheetos, and they just do the Fortnite dance.
Yeah.
And I just go, okay, great. We're gonna pretend to be two firefighters on a bench. And then someone would be like, there's a fire. And someone would go, in my mouth, Doritos, Fritos, and Hot Cheetos. And they would like stand up and start doing the dance. It was like, they tricked me every time I tried to set it up so they couldn't get there, and they found a way.
Were there any kids that you were like, oh wow, you're a genius? You pull them aside and say, I think you're a comedic genius.
No, not a single one. I mean, it was really like a camp. I was really teaching kids. I also taught a college class there. I taught a couple NYU classes there.
Well, you've taught me too.
Of course, if you don't know,
Sebastian has a great podcast, Loud About Nothing.
Check it out. We talk about that.
We talked about way before I was doing stand-up. This was a long time ago. I was on some god awful improv team, and we hired Sebastian to coach, and he basically in the scene I made a mistake, some not doing a yes and of sorts, and accidentally sending my scene partner off stage. In a way where someone would need to come on and help me to keep the scene going.
I believe you killed your scene partner so they couldn't talk. So
he
was alone on stage.
It was something like, I was like, well, then go get that for me. And then they left the stage. And so someone was to step on and help continue the scene. And Sebastian said, no, leave him. Leave him. And then we just sat in silence, and you were trying to teach me a lesson that I had, abandoned myself on stage, and you were using a shame tactic, I would say, to teach me about acting. And it's one thing in college when it's like an older person doing it to you, but when it's someone younger than me, I think
so.
There is a deep feeling of rage that you remember. But after 8 years, I got over it.
You did. And I always said I remembered you because you walked in the room, took your shoes off, and then proceeded to eat 3 bananas in a row. Didn't take them out. Didn't take 3 bananas out at once. One at a time, removed a banana from his bag and continued to eat. And he was just talking to me, and I'm just staring at this spectacle of a man who somehow has his toes crossed, sitting there, crisscross, toes crossed, eating 3 bananas in a row. And I said, I'm going to teach this motherfucker a lesson.
Yeah, I guess I do have strange... people always comment on my eating habits, so I guess...
Oh, yeah. Look, he's always eaten, if it's not a banana or not a carrot, it's a very wet fruit. Like where it's very like
I go to wash it in the sink, and I go like this. I open the door with my elbow, and I eat it fresh.
Romantic.
Or just like a giant pepper. You just eat peppers, like giant full peppers.
That was definitely a phase. I've moved past that, but that was a phase.
You moved past it. I need to start. I mean, my eating habits are so fucked. Let's not even go into that.
But when you're with people, if you're like a group,
he understands the sickness.
Yeah.
He goes, when you're eating normally in front of people, what am I eating?
You've eaten boiled eggs in front of people. You've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough.
When? Like, we're not in like a compartment together. What are you talking about? Where?
I'm just saying, what snacks do you eat in public, like in rehearsal? Like, what's your public snacks?
Oh, yeah.
We all have our private snacks.
Yes, of course.
We all have our private snacks.
Yeah, I mean, it varies, but yeah, that's the limit. Hard-boiled egg.
But like, you'll have 1 banana, as opposed to me. I will
3.
I had
crazy.
3 this morning, for sure.
Every morning.
I don't think you're supposed to have that many bananas. I'll be honest.
People say you should have 1 banana a day, but I'm tall, so I figure that number is for. That's every like recommendation.
You're not that tall.
I read something once that said you should only have 4 Brazilian nuts a day, and I was like, oh my God, am I going to die? I've eaten bags of Brazilian nuts. Those are delicious.
They are.
Why give me a whole bag with 50 if that's not one sitting?
I knew a girl who would set them out on her counter the night before.
How many?
4.
4.
Because it was good for your brain. She heard Andrew Huberman say it's good for your brain, and so she would set them on her counter the night before.
Yeah. Can you imagine you get dementia, someday you get the diagnosis of dementia, and they go, you should have had 4 Brazilian nuts a day. You would have lived forever if only you followed that random fucking thing that one person mentioned once.
Yeah.
Oh, so welcome to the downside. For people listening, this is a place where we can be negative and complain and share our traumas. And you know what people say about Staten Island.
Yeah, I'm aware.
You know like the stereotype of it. How describe
I would love
what?
I would love one of you to describe the
Yeah.
stereotype.
Here's all I know about it, and I feel like Pete Davidson has way too much of a percentage of what this is.
Sure.
Is that it's Italian-ish, very very white.
Yes.
Depends
Depends the area.
Sure. Well, I'm just sharing what I know of.
Yes.
It's 100% white. It's lower income in general overall. Big families. Homophobia comes to mind. It feels like there's still playgrounds with the monkey bars that are rusted, and you fall and you hurt yourself, and kids are getting bullied, and people, they stay there, they get stuck there forever, and then their mom still picks up their laundry and does it even when they're an adult.
I live in Brooklyn. I do go, and if I see people at the gas station, they go, "Yo, bro, you made it out." Like it's like some sort of like prison. It's intense. The toxicity is wild out there. I always remember I played CYO basketball, and
What was that?
CYO, Catholic Youth Organization.
Okay, yeah.
And first off, they would say the prayers, and I'm not Catholic, so my dad would just say, "Bow your heads and mumble." So
They would say the prayer before the game?
Yes, before every game, we would gather around and say a prayer.
Which prayer?
Hail Mary, full of grace.
Uh-huh.
And then Our Father who art in heaven.
Sure. So what were you?
I was Lutheran because my dad said, I don't care what religion he is as long as he's not Catholic. And he was Catholic, went to Catholic school.
Uh-huh.
So I think that was...
Do you think...
The molestation?
Yeah.
No.
He just didn't like
I know
him.
what it is. I know what happened to him.
Oh.
There was a nun. It was during the. This isn't funny, but it was during the Cuban Missile Crisis, right? And they would do these bomb drills where they go under the desk to protect themselves if a bomb hits, right? It wouldn't save you. And the nun said to them, "Great, it's okay. If you die, you'll all die with me, and I'll be able to get you into heaven." And my dad was like 7, and he said, "Fuck that. I'm dying with my mom." So every day he would run from school to his house. His mom would drop him off at school, and in Brooklyn he would run from his school to his house, and he would be sitting on the stoop, and they would do that all day long because he was so scared to die with the nuns. And plus they hit him on top of all that. So he's like, I hate this place.
That's a really, heaven really works like a crowded airport. It would seem. It's like, well, where's your nun? You have to be with a nun to get in. You're just stuck out here. That's I say all the time that I was such like an angsty kid that if I had the things about Catholic, it would have gotten into my brain and it would have freaked me the fuck out so badly. That being said, I think if I was with my mom, we would be going to hell together.
Hell by association or just bickering on the way to heaven?
Just bickering, and then God would be like, I do not want this energy in heaven, please.
So I do CYO basketball, and it would be the fathers there would get so intense. I was 10 years old. They would throw chairs on the courts, screaming. They would get kicked out of the games, and the score would be 7-3.
7-3. Does that mean someone made a three-pointer or like
no, like a free throw or something? Like the games would be. We were children.
Yeah.
And the dads would be screaming. It was just so many like union men who put so much stake in that my child's gonna make my life better.
And what about your dad?
He was a principal in the Lower East Side.
But could he scream at the game too? No.
He was very. My dad's a PhD. He's educated.
So why did he? So he grew up. Forgive me. He grew up in Staten Island.
He grew up in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. Why did he go to Staten Island if he?
Because my cousin moved there, who's a cop. And my cousin was like, "There's a good deal
on a house."
Yeah. Oh. So he moved, and I lived next door to my cousin growing up.
Got it.
So it was like, cuz lived next door, because he grew up in Brooklyn, where it's all just everyone in a family lived on one street. So, and he liked that idea that if I needed anything, I could go next door or something like that.
Well, let me say that that's the one thing about Staten Island that even though I hear these stereotypes, I grew up with no community, no neighborhood, and sometimes I do hear that, and I go, "Oh, you have like culture, you have like, I don't have any of that." No. Our neighbors, we didn't spend time together. I mean, it was an isolated childhood. I feel like, yeah. What
No,
about you?
I grew up upstate, and we didn't have the culture of hanging out with neighbors. Actually, I had multiple neighbors while I grew up kill themselves. One, the guy behind me killed himself in his bathtub. The guy in front of us shot himself in the front yard in the middle of the night. Shot himself in the front yard in the middle of the night, and then the guy right across the street tried to hurt his wife and kids. One time we were having a barbecue in our backyard. Kids came running over. They're like, "Dad's going crazy." My dad had to go and pull him off of him. So not a great neighborhood.
How many
But
neighbors?
it's like, it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't like I grew up in a nice house. Like, but it was just like very small town, and you didn't really hang out with people.
How many neighbors have to kill themselves before you start asking yourself, is it you? Do you remember, like, what ages? Like, how did they tell you? That would have freaked me the
I
fuck
remember
out.
hearing the sirens the night the guy did it in the front yard. That was probably like 10 or 11 then. Ooh. And then the guy who slit his wrist in the bathtub, that was like probably high school, so a little later on.
I mean, as bad as Staten Island sounds, it sounds better than that
Well,
shit.
Where upstate
left,
New York
They
did you
left
live?
the tub where he did it in, like, so you'd go out on our back porch and it would just be like this like rusted old tub that he killed himself in, just like in view of our for like a year. Just laid there, just staring at every family barbecue. There was that.
I feel like that would be a
bloody,
horror
rusty
movie
tub.
where like you dared your friends like
Yeah.
sit in the tub and then it like
yeah.
it haunted you and then you
No,
went in the shower
awful.
and you died.
I grew up near Binghamton, upstate, near like 3 hours north of here.
I lived in an apartment where 2 people died in the apartment. And we
How
got a
did they
deal.
die?
It was this
You
is
got
sad.
a deal. That's
We got a
it.
deal.
That came so quickly.
Well, you Sam.
someone died in my apartment.
You
That's
got
why
a
I had
deal.
to rent.
Yeah.
I got a great deal.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is terrible.
I still get letters from his like dental bills that he owes.
Stop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you respond? No.
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 I was like, when was the last time I responded to a letter? At the apartment, it was a mother and a son, and the mother was bedridden and couldn't move, and the son took care of the mother. And one day, the son collapsed and hit his head, and then died on the floor and bleeding out. And the mother could see him dying.
Oh.
And there was still a blood stain in the hallway, and I had a dog, and every so often the dog would move it, and I would just see the giant red stain under the carpet.
You must have gotten an amazing deal.
It was incredible. It was truly an incredible deal.
They had to
when
tell-
did they tell you that story?
Yeah.
They didn't tell. We saw in the newspaper. We did research.
Yeah.
This was in Washington Heights.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
Do you
like,
do research
So
like
she
after you
died-
found the blood
wait,
stain?
after the blood
She
stain.
just died. She starved. Like
She starved to death.
Oh!
This is the downside.
This is the downside.
You said that.
No, this is what we want.
Yeah, but that was, and every so often I'd see that red blood stain.
Oh. Wait, did they put the carpet
And I have a
down
nice
to hide it?
No, we put it down.
Oh.
They didn't give a
so
shit.
you knew there was a blood stain when you got it.
It wasn't obvious. It wasn't like what you think.
Okay.
It was just like into the wood.
I want you guys that are reacting so emotionally, I want you to look around you and ask yourself, how many people do you think died in this room we are in right
Yeah.
now? I promise
This is
it's
like the
thousands.
Project.
You think the Beastie Boys didn't sacrifice a couple people down here for a recording session? There are people died everywhere. It's just a
Everywhere.
matter of time.
Everywhere.
Everywhere you look, someone died in that spot.
Yeah.
Everywhere
Yeah.
across the city, there's death.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful apartment. Crown Malden.
Oh.
You don't get Crown
No,
Malden
you
in
don't
New
get
York
Crown
unless
Malden
someone
ever.
died there, you know? That's nice.
So, in terms of Staten Island, like, do you see yourself as like eventually in your life you leave this behind you, or is it really a part of you?
I can't hide it because of my voice.
Yeah.
Like, my voice really gives away that, don't nod so much. The woman in the front goes, I can't hide it. So someone knows I'm from somewhere, right? And
Have you ever tried to hide it?
Do people ever tell you to lose it for?
I have. I did a series for Go 90. If you don't know that, that was a failed TV network. And
Could you try to hide your accent for the rest of this episode?
yeah, I could not talk.
But were you able to do it?
So the first day, I auditioned for the role, and I played like we're in a family from like Wisconsin or something. And the first day, I'm like talking, and I'm talking like this. I auditioned.
Yeah.
I will give them credit. They did ask after the audition. They go, "Could you do it with the accent?" I go, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah, of course
Forget
I can.
about it.
Are you kidding me? I fucking hate this voice. And I show up the first day.
And you thought, you thought, whatever. I'll get there, and what are they gonna do?
They're looking at the tape, right? What are they
Yeah.
gonna do? And what they did was, I did 6 weeks on a show where every time I did my line, they would make me retake it and go, "The vowels, Sebastian, the vowels."
Oh.
And every night I would go home watching YouTube videos how to say words. I would take all the words and I would put it into like Google Translate just to hear how like a person speaks. And I tried
Is
so
that an
hard.
option on
But
Google
wait.
Translate? Like Staten Island. Forget about it.
Yeah. I was coffee.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.